Welcome back to the Local Legends Cycling Podcast. I'm here with Jonathan Whiteman at the bike route, and yeah, we're going to talk about bikes, selling bikes, what it's like to work at a bike shop, and just the magic behind the scenes.
There's a lot of magic.
A lot of elbow grease. Right?
A lot of elbow grease. A lot of pumice orange hand washing.
The good stuff.
The good stuff.
Nothing but the good stuff.
It's all blue collar.
Yeah.
Strictly business.
Okay. What got you into cycling?
Wow.
Because we're watching this a while ago, and there's just pictures of you. Hell, there was a picture of me up there.
We got to put you up there too. Square to square.
Yeah.
Wow, what got me in? So previous to cycling, mountain biking was the discipline I started with, cross country, and I decided one day I wanted to try something different. I had been playing travel tournament paintball all across Arkansas, some down in Oklahoma and Texas, and it was just getting to the point with that where it was almost like summertime baseball. And as soon as school lets out, you're playing summer ball every weekend, tournaments and everything, and it just kind of felt like I was losing a little bit of connect, with the outdoors, which I've always had a passion for. And I decided to one day put all my paintball gear in a trunk and ask a reasonable price, sold it, turned around. I went to Ozark Bike Shop. It's not there anymore. I wanted to be outside, kind of doing things outside of a team perspective, a little bit more independent, and started, looking around. And at the time, being 16, 17 years old, 15, 16, 17 years old, when all this is going down, none of this in Northwest Arkansas existed. You had a choice of Devil's Den, and out there you had Fossil Flats, you had Holt Road, you had your Weddington, which now has come a long way thanks to Oz Trails and Trailblazers and that kind of development. And then you had Lake Leatherwood over towards Eureka Springs. And then the
bike
one
killer.
Yeah, the bike destroyer, the carbon crusher. And then the one, that I really rode with my friends once I got a bike, then one of my best friends at the time, Clayton, was like, "Hey man, I want to get into this too." And he knew where I got my bike, Ozark Bike Shop. He went down there and got the exact same model I did, different color. I'm going to go ahead and plug a different brand, even though, I'm specialized.
Hey, I have been a Specialized fanboy for the last 10 years, and I've never looked back.
Yeah, there's a reason why a lot of people share that sentiment.
Yeah, they're expensive, though.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's like, I cried once.
Yeah. Well, my first bike that I bought, it was $460. And, obviously, I sold my paintball gear for more than that. And $460, a little bit of extra pocket money. Obviously, first thing is a helmet, water bottle cages, and then eventually that evolved into a Camelback, and then there's just this snowball effect of gear. And the crazy thing about mountain biking is you can get set up at the bike shop, purchase your bike, purchase your helmet, but you really don't know what you need until you actually get out there and witness these trails. There's so many different trails now in this area, and all of them call for different gear.
Gear is vitally important.
Yeah, I mean, so we can be talking a 2.5 mile trail that you can session, or we may be talking about something up in Bella Vista towards Missouri, like the back 40.
Yeah. That's a long one. I've talked to several people, and they're like, "Yeah, I wasn't ready for the back 40."
I've done it once. I'm more of a not necessarily a session type rider. When I'm doing XC out in the woods, I like to go up to, like Slaughter Pen and the trail systems, where you can ride multiple different trails. Whereas, when you do some of these longer ones like the back 40, it's a committed loop. And certain times of the year, like now, back 40 can be a little punishing with the heat, but totally doable. But like I was saying, the other trail that existed that was the most popular in the area, and it actually still exists to this day, is the Lake Fayetteville Trail. And now you've got a paved trail that goes around it. If you want to walk or e-bike or whatever. And then, paralleling that is the mountain bike trail. And it's a great thing because back in the day, it was just a bunch of locals that took care of it. And it was doing what we call a rake and ride, where you just go out there with rakes, leaf blowers, blow out an area and everything, kind of cut the corridor back a little bit and then take off. And it's really cool to see that trail still in existence, but now with so many more modern features with the bridges and the woods and stuff like that. It's good to see the community coming together and, the interest that this trail pulls in. And that there's, good people out there, a dedicated group that really want to take care of it.
Yeah. And I'm always seeing posts about going out there and helping out and clear that out. It's like, there's some, if you guys want to get involved and do anything out there and help, just go to Facebook. There's literally something going on about every other day.
Yes. And especially, when we had the natural disaster, the tornado, May 26th of 24, there was so much damage done to Northwest Arkansas and all the trails that there were organizations that were sending out crews of 15 or 20 from companies just to come out because we share a common interest. Bikes. And if these trails aren't maintained, we can't ride them. And it's great to see the community kind of come together over one thing and unite. And it was special. It was real special.
You don't see that everywhere. No. And that's, and this is kind of like why we're doing the podcast. It's like, we're talking about the magic of that. Yeah. There's something there. A lot of people like to deny it, but those people haven't experienced it. And you and I, shit, how long have I been riding bikes now? Probably since I was about, long distance, probably about since I was about 12. But
but I see your bike that you ride, and that's like normal. It's more like
it's the Mad Max of bikes.
It is. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And you always call it the family truckster.
The family truckster. little plug from National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah. No, it's a good.
It's the only bike I know of that has a CB radio attached to it.
It's a ham radio.
Or ham radio.
We're splitting hairs. What was your first big adventure that got you completely hooked?
Well,
because I saw that photo from the Big Dam Bridge over there on the screen. Yeah. That was what, 20 years ago?
Oh no. That was 2015.
2015
and
10.
Yeah, 10, and doing it on a mountain bike.
Yeah,
with slick tires, as opposed to a drop bar bike. And being that idiot where everybody else is out there, pre-planning and getting the right bicycle. I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna go do this.
Yeah,
no, I didn't even train for it. I just showed up, and that's probably one of the worst sunburns I've ever had. And top of the legs on your shorts, and by the time I crossed the finish line, man, I dumped it over in grass and just rolled, and I just laid there for about a half an hour. Talk about being gassed. The tank was empty. You got that engine knock, that yep, that was me. That was me about 20 miles from the finish, but you got to push through.
Yeah.
So that was a big one. I would probably say the next year when I went back, I was definitely more prepared. That was when I bought my first road bike, the Specialized Alley Sport E5. Completely outdated by, today's standards, just as a few years down the line. But, it really gave me a taste of distance. And that was the first time that I had ridden consecutively, I guess you could say, 100 miles in one day on a bicycle. And I'm glad I did it, because I went back the next year and I did it again. But if you've never done a century ride, for all those listening, it is one of those things that you can get into that it gives you such a sense of accomplishment. 100 miles to do anything is a lot. And when you're the motor, it
going 75 miles will gas you up for a year.
Yeah. And it's good to see people, just taking that leap. I've got a buddy that the furthest he had ever been on a bicycle at one time was around 35 miles. And he said, hey, I'm going down to do Big Dam Bridge 100. Yeah. And I said, oh, that's cool. What are you doing? The 50, the 68? He goes, no, I'm going to do the century. And I said, have you been training for it? No, man, I'm just going to wing it. And I said, okay, well, there's probably better things you could wing, but I said, you got my support for whatever it's worth.
The equation to the century is half parts crazy, half parts ambition, and half parts the motivation to get that done.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I mean, you can bail at any time, but if you can just tell yourself 1 more mile,
Yeah.
1 more mile, 1 more mile, and just keep that running in your head, stay hydrated. One thing that I like to use especially when it's really hot outside is Scratch Labs.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of really good stuff in it. I mean, kind of low on carbs, but you've got, calcium, 100 milligrams of potassium, 50 milligrams of magnesium, basically the stuff that you are sweating out of every pore in your body. You're trying to put it in, as fast as you can. And that goes
really good for you salty sweaters out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it really is.
Our latest episode that came out, our friend Chantal, she was talking about being a salty sweater, and she's like, "Yeah, you gotta keep your electrolytes balanced while you're out there, otherwise you will perish."
Yeah. I mean, I've taken darker. I had a navy blue jersey at one point that I had gone out in this hellacious heat, and by the time I got done with the ride, it had almost completely turned gray. From the salt deposits just coming out on the material itself. Oh yeah, I smelled wonderful.
Yeah. You still get bikes in here that you peel the bar tape off and it's just like
all the
powder.
Time. All the time. We had one that came in the other day. I mean, you could smell it before you even broke apart, the headset. And it was like, stalactites in a cave of salt, shining, hanging down. And that goes for the bottom brackets too. And you had all of these heavy sweaters. And, we had a bike that came in a couple weeks ago. Peeling off the bar tape was quite an adventure for one of our shop guys, and kind of had to break out the room spray a little bit for that one. It was funky. So for all you roadies out there, change your bar tape sometimes.
Regularly.
Yeah, especially if you want us to.
Well, hell, you guys sold me bar tape like 6 months ago.
Yeah, you're already run through it, haven't you?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, well, I got big meaty hooks.
Yeah, you got oven mitts for hands.
And I'm like, you can tell exactly where I grab everything because it's like, oh, yeah, Alex is putting a death grip on this
then
poor bicycle.
Sweat and friction, and as strong as a big a guy you are, he just shreds through it. But hopefully you'll let us wrap those before you head to Ragbro. Sure.
Yeah, I gotta go help another guy wrap his Sunday.
Yeah,
so I might be in here and buy some more.
So
yeah, cool. Real quick, do you want to tell the folks at home what I spent in the last 3 or 4 years here?
Yeah, good point. So Alex comes in the shop the other day, and he's always coming in for the random stuff, like pedal bearings and just random stuff. It's Alex, and he wanted to know how much he had spent. I believe it was since August 22nd of 2022. He had spent what did he determine it was? It was
$1,092.67,
which we all thought you were going to be way over that.
Oh yeah,
but
I was afraid of how much I had actually spent here because I'm in here all the time, just like little onesies and twosies things.
You stop by to say hey, and order some tires or
I'm all the time ordering tires, and you would think I would spend more than that, but.
You're one of those guys that you don't overspend. You just come in and get what you need, rather than a rider that comes in looking for a new pair of socks and ends up going out with new shoes, new pedals, 8 new water bottles, and a new bicycle.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to have all new stuff, but some things help. And you always if you take care. The point is, you take care of your bicycle will take care of you. Because my bike's pushing 10 years now.
Yeah. How many miles do you have on that thing?
Strava says it's about 5,600. There's probably another 10 grand on that because I didn't use Strava until like 2020. Yeah, like 2020 or 2021.
That's multiple coast to coast rides.
Yeah, and a good quarter of that was gravel.
Oh gosh, on the family truckster.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and about 50% of those were fishing trips too.
Yeah. Besides the ham radio, you're also one of the only riders I know that carries fishing poles, locally at least.
Well, me and Jacob Richardson were talking about that, and I don't know if we'll be able to get his video out because we were fishing by the creek and it was very loud. So much like this, it's a little loud. But
I'm just waiting on you to get one of these pull behind burley trailers and slap a live well with a 60.
There was a fishing hand cart for like the beach, for $100 out of Fayetteville over here, and it had like 6 fishing pole holders and a cooler holder. And I was like, a little bit of welding and some fabrication, and that would be a nice bike trailer.
And if anyone can do it, it's you.
Well, I'm not that good at welding aluminum yet. Well, I got to work on. I got a TIG welder. I've never used it.
Well, you got a better start than most people.
Right. How do you think cycling has impacted the community here? Because, I remember, growing up here, I've been here all my life. I remember when there wasn't anything.
No.
And I heard rumors that you could go to Devil's Den and ride your bike, and that was big news for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never got to do that because I never had a mountain bike, like a legit mountain bike growing up. And then, about 16, I had a GT Outpost.
I know that bike. Mm-hmm. Yeah, familiar with that.
It was fairly capable, but it wasn't like the cat's meow.
Well, again, in this area, we didn't have any bike shops.
Right.
There was Ozark Bike Shop in Rogers, and we had High Roller in Fayetteville, and I want to say Fayetteville Bicycle Company was there, and that was about it. Mm-hmm. And then here in the last few years, there I don't want to go too much into detail, maybe who is or who is not behind it, but man, it is a blessing of what certain people have contributed to the growth of a sport that they were passionate about. And the thing that I think is cool, the coolest thing about it is they wanted to share their passion of cycling with the entire area. So rather than loaning out bikes or anything like that, they basically turned Northwest Arkansas into the Disneyland, the international Disneyland of mountain biking. And it's crazy when some of these bigger events like Pro Cup come to Centennial Park, when Bike Fest comes to the old Applegate Craft Fair Festival in Bentonville.
The Big Sugar. Oh my gosh.
And you start opening your ears and you start hearing all of these different accents. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I got to the point one year at Bike Fest, I was helping out as a volunteer, and I would just hear a different accent, and I would just, walk up to the total stranger. Hey, heard your accent. Where are you from? Mm-hmm. And at one event, it obviously turned international because we counted 27 different countries in attendance. Yeah. One that stands out to me in particular, there was an older couple, and they were, I guess you could say, Nordic looking. Mm-hmm. Like they weren't gray headed. It was just blonde, white, and fair skinned. And then I heard
real tall.
Yeah. and I started hearing them talk, and then I had to go over and ask them. And I was like, "Hey, I heard y'all's accents. Where are you from?" And they're like, and in their lingo, we're from Sweden. And I was like, Sweden? Oh, y'all came all the way for Bike Fest? Well, it turns out they were there for Bike Fest, but they had actually retired to Bella Vista, Arkansas, to be right smack in the middle of all this mountain biking, because that's what they did back home.
It's a growing trend.
Yeah. And it's gotten trendy. Mm-hmm. I remember back in the day and during summer when you had your baseball dads and your football dads and traveling sports and everything. That has evolved in Northwest Arkansas to mountain bike parents. Mm-hmm. And now with the introduction of NICA in all the grade schools, which is the National Interscholastic Cycling Association, and it's basically cycling clubs for kids in grade school.
Yeah.
And their parents have figured out how big of a deal this has gotten. And now it's to the point where you don't go play baseball anymore with your friends during the summer. No. You go ride bikes.
Oh, yeah.
And you travel all across the state with your high school buddies racing bikes. And I never, if you told me 15, 20 years ago, and I've lived in Northwest Arkansas since 92, but if you would have told me back then when I was in school that by the time you're this age, this is going to be happening in your area, I'd have probably laughed in your face.
I probably would have done the same thing because I was ridiculed for riding a bike everywhere in high school, and that was as late as 2011. Yeah. And then, like, what was it, 5 years later or 4 years later, they opened up the trail. Mm-hmm. So,
the Greenway?
It did a 180 quick.
Very, very quick.
Yeah.
The Greenway, I feel, was kind of one of the kickoffs for it.
Definitely.
It was a way to open up a family-friendly avenue that connects two counties. Mm-hmm. And when it first started, it was just a straight Greenway all the way through. And now there are spurs in every single town.
Yeah.
From Bentonville all the way to South Fayetteville. Well, actually up into Bella Vista down to South Fayetteville, where you can take cutoffs to neighborhoods, to parks, to shopping centers. It's just this huge spider web.
And they're working on the intercity trails now to like the one over there from Springdale to Harbor, and then that'll open up Tawnytown. I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah.
We talked about that with Chantal. She lives over there across the street. And she's like, I can finally ride my bike to the bike ride.
You sure can.
So, it's exciting times. Dean's Trail's opened up. 265 is still a little scary. It's a pretty trail. I don't know. Is it 264 or what? That goes right there by the airport down from Springdale to Fayetteville.
265, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 265.
Yeah.
We'll check.
Don't want to give you guys any false information.
Caleb, please check that and correct us if we're wrong. Anyway, no, I've ridden that, but people always say, "Oh, that's a scary trail." And it's like, yeah, but there is technically a bike lane there.
Yeah.
It's just the cars are whizzing by at 50 miles an hour. So
yeah,
it's so.
Yeah, I found out about that about a week ago the hard way.
Yeah. How's that bruise?
Less colorful.
Okay. Still look like Bigfoot?
No, not as much as it did, but dude, I laughed for quite some time when I sent you that picture and you did the little scribbly editing, and now I can't unsee it.
I showed that to the guys at the club the other day, and they're like, "It does look like Bigfoot."
It does look like Bigfoot. That is a Sasquatch. So not only am I a huge fan of Sasquatch, now I'm getting bruised by a bicycle and then imprinting his image on my thigh.
Okay.
But yeah, that was scary. You mentioned, cars and stuff like that. And it wasn't planned. I was just out on a ride. Right. And I'd been waving this guy around. And, this is up in Rogers on very well-developed paved roads. And I was off to the side and no cars coming head on, riding, with traffic at my back. And I hear this motor start coming up and I hear the exhaust. And I look back and I could tell, this guy's close. And so I'm waving him around and he's not coming around. And he probably followed behind me for a good, I don't know, mile and a half. And then all of a sudden I hear that exhaust just light up. And so I thought, here he's coming. He's coming around. And his passenger side mirror was about 12 inches off my drop bar. Never connected with me, but you couldn't get any closer.
Yeah.
And I jackknifed the bike and flipped over and had my thigh sucked in between the tire and the backside of the fork, and thus this bruise. And the first thing everybody asked me, did you get the license plate? I got a full description of the car all the way down to the stickers on the back glass.
Yeah.
But he was too far away at that time. I couldn't see it. But for all y'all out there, be mindful. There are people out there that will respect you and they'll share the road, and then there's the exact opposite of those that don't.
Right. And this reminds me, I made a video about this, but there was a white minivan in a video I did about a month ago, and I thought that our van was just out there just mad dogging us because it was right there, and we were on this little 2-lane highway. It was 56th Street, cutting back between Wagon Wheel and then over there to Huntsville. Yeah, we were going up by the there's that new trail section over there, but we hum up Wagon Wheel Road over there by the quarry. We're cutting back over towards Springdale.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought this car was mad dogging us, but once we got to a straightaway, we flagged it on. She comes up and she's like, "Woohoo, go guys!"
That's awesome.
And I was like, "Okay, this was 180 degrees of what I thought it was."
What you thought was going to happen?
Yeah, no, I was like, "Oh God, here
he comes again."
So it's not all bad. There are people out there that are out to get cyclists because they have nothing better to do.
Right.
But that percentage is growing ever smaller every day.
It's true.
And, it's a great place to be.
Yeah. Just, biggest thing is, when you're out there, whatever discipline of cycling sport you choose, wear a helmet.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Wear a helmet and run a GoPro.
It seems like everybody these days, they're running dashboard cams and reverse cams. And GoPro is essentially, the dash cam of the mountain bike.
You've already talked a little bit about scratch. Is there any other go-to gear that you will not leave your home without?
Ooh, I'm running tubeless on both my mountain and my gravel bike, and the way I describe it, it's a puncture kit. It's not a patch kit like you'd be patching a tube. It's an actual, brass-headed metal dart with a rosin flange on the back of it. And it's just like plugging a car tire. If you've ever done that with like the bacon strips and stuff like that. That's definitely, it doesn't take up a lot of room. It doesn't weigh anything. And so if you can pair up the puncture kit with a CO2 head and quick charge, it's not a permanent solution, but it is a solution that will get you back to your truck and get you home.
Yeah.
And so you can patch up the tire or add more sealant.
Yeah, we had a tire the other day. It was it went through the meat of the tire on the face, and then it came out the sidewall. Oh, it was a big old nail, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna. He said he had just fresh sealant in there, so I was like, maybe there's enough coagulate, or that rubber in there to coagulate it and stop it. No, I was covered head to toe.
Especially that sounds like new tire day to me.
That's what I told him. I was like, yeah. I mean, we tried everything, and then another guy came and he had a bunch of CO2 cartridges. So he's like, "Oh, let's try to seal the bead back up and see if we can plug it." And I was like, "It's not going to take."
No,
but
sealant serves its purpose. I always describe it to riders who are thinking about making the change over from tubed wheels to tubeless and going tubeless. The way I try to explain it is, the easiest way possible, obviously. And it's, imagine riding down the road and all those tiny little imperfections, little pieces of glass, shards of metal, stuff that you can't see that's so small when you're in the cockpit of the bike that would normally come through that rubber and just instantly just down your tube. And I explain it, the sealant is designed to keep sloshing around inside that. You don't notice the weight. There's no audible sound to it. It's just there, and it's there to help you. And normally those little imperfections on the rotor and the trail that would go through and puncture a tube, the sealant, as it's moving around in there, senses that pressure drop, and it literally forces that sealant out that hole, and it almost turns into like a rubber state. Yeah. And it's not
like a piece of phlegm caught in your throat and sealing up your nose.
Yeah. And I've seen riders before, and I've been riding behind them. Obviously, they're running tubeless, and you hear them run over something. All of a sudden, there's that. And it'll go on for about 5 seconds, and then it stops. And then at that point, you've lost some pressure, but the sealant did its job.
Yeah. Well, it was losing a lot of air, and there was no plug. There was no plug in it, and I was like,
Well, and when you run tubeless, you can always carry a spare tube with you, and you can put that in. It's messy, but it can't be done.
Well, poor guy had a tube with him, and it been sitting in there for 5 years, so the seams were busted. So like every season, if you don't use that tube, chuck it, get you another one. Go see Jonathan. He sells the things.
Yeah, we've got them all. Pretty much every size you could think.
Oh yeah, no,
can get you hooked up.
Go-to piece of gear for a new person starting out.
Helmet. It's and here's the deal about helmets. We have a lot of riders that come through the shop and they purchase a new bike, and the first question out of me is, do you have a helmet?
As it should be.
Yeah, as it should be. I mean, I remember back in the day when you were the nerdy guy. If you wore a helmet, now people look at you strange if you don't have one.
180.
Yeah, to another. 180. And I'll have those riders that'll say, yeah, I've got a helmet, and then I'll ask them, well, how old is this helmet? Oh, I've had it probably good 10 years. Oh, yeah. What most people don't understand is the material, the foam, that dense foam that's inside these helmets, as you're sweating, it's constantly breaking down. And it's making it more and more dangerous to ride. I realize you may have some sentimental ties to this helmet, but it comes to a point where you're in the danger zone.
Yeah, I probably need to replace mine this year, but I've got a lot of stickers on there that I love.
Well, you can still hang it on your wall.
I could.
It's just not going to do any good.
Yeah, if you don't want to have to redo all the GoPro mounts, but it'll be all right.
We'll get you some more stickers.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, and then I always tell people, like, if you drop that helmet from anything more than like 3 feet up, that foam compresses, and you would not believe how many people on the internet will debate me on that. And I'm like,
no, it's true.
It's absolutely true. Like, you can go look in, and there's a dent in that helmet, and and
I had a rider come in a while back, and asked them if they needed a new helmet.
Yeah.
And no, I've got this helmet and everything. And I finally, talked to them about your sweat. It breaks down the foam, the elements that break down this foam. They're really only good for maybe 2 ride seasons, 3 tops. I would never go past 3 years on a helmet.
Yeah.
And so he was like, okay, what do you have in this price range? And we made a decision. We got him hooked up with a new helmet. And I picked up his old one. And I said, you want to take this with you? It's not any good. He's like, no, you can junk it. And I said, before you go, I wanted to show you something. And so I took my hands and kind of put it towards the inside and just not even all my strength, maybe a quarter strength, and snapped it like it was like snapping a watermelon piece. And it just popped. And I looked at him and I said, man, this could have been your head.
Yeah.
And I said, not saying that one's going to save your life, but
it's going to mitigate the damage.
Yeah. And all of our helmets in the shop come with the MIPS membrane.
MIPS is
awesome.
Yeah, MIPS is very awesome. The best way to describe MIPS for people who don't know is it literally makes your noggin slick so that nothing grabs it whenever you hit the ground hard. Yeah,
it's a 10 to 15 directional, like you said, like a slick head. So the helmet is designed to actually rotate on the cranial instead of being so jarring like old-fashioned helmets were. Those things you just sat on top of your head, buckled up and prayed, that would hold on. But these MIPS helmets, the technology that's been put in these, and the science and the testing that's been done on these, Specialized has really gotten to the top on a few different models as far as safety. How comfortable is it? Wind resistance, anything you can think of as far as cycling a mountain. And we're happy that every helmet that we carry in this shop has the MIPS membrane.
Wow. Not too long ago, you could not have said that,
Right.
It's...
If you had a helmet that had MIPS, people are like, what's MIPS?
I remember. So, like 2019, I came out, or I was working MIPS came out right around that time. And I was working at the bike shop, and it's like, I'd never heard about it. And then I looked into it. It was so new at the time. It was like, I could not find like hard data about what it's exactly doing.
Right.
And then there's like, no, just trust us. And I'm like, it's really hard to trust you guys without the data. And then it's like,
and spending this much.
Yeah. And then, a couple of years later, they there was more stuff, and they had better explanations because it was literally the scientists trying to explain that to the common folk. And then it's like, okay, guys, I love what you're doing, but I gotta bring this down to where I can talk to everybody about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it just literally makes your head slick.
Yeah. It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you really don't know like what it does until you try on a helmet that doesn't have MIPS, and then you try on a helmet that does.
Yeah.
And you perform the same rotational procedures and stuff on it. And then it kind of speaks for itself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Once you show that, and now when you go into most shops, you're hard pressed to find a helmet that doesn't have it.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything. The technology has just been reiterated, and it's down to where it's affordable, and it's like the baseline now.
Yeah.
Everybody and their dog. You don't sell a helmet without MIPS now,
right?
Because it's like the standard.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of excited to see what else they'll come out with in like the next 5-10 years, because it's going to be hard to top that.
Well, and cycling is such a progressive sport. The technology changes by the season.
Yeah. I've always said, it's never going to be, people are going to be slowly get faster and stronger over time. Like 100 years ago, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who's 6'1" or 6'3", and
6'5".
I didn't think you were that. I've always said that the next big thing in cycling will be material science.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day.
Yeah, it's like always. It's just a little. It's a little fiber. Increments here and there, like pushing how much, how thin you can go on a sidewall of a tube, and then where adding thickness to where it needs it. Shaving grams.
And when you get into, especially road biking, grams is everything.
Oh, yeah. Well, weight weenies. Not a weight weenie.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody can look at your bike and be like, this guy cares nothing about what weight is.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's, the technology that's in it. Specialized just released, not too far back, the Epic 8 line, replacing the previous Epic line, and it's been a great seller for us.
Like one of those?
No, it's the Verge STRV, this one right over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so the technology has gotten to the point now where these bikes, going with the S-Works model, it features a device called Flight Attendant. So, previously, if anybody is familiar with lockouts on fork, it had an actuation switch that you had to reach down.
Oh, this is what you were telling me about the other day, that it's like talking back and forth between the front.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The days of lockout and stuff are gone. You buy this bike and Flight Attendant powers up. Your job is to do one thing. Ride the bike. Don't worry about your descents. Don't worry about the climbs. Don't worry about the lockouts. This device is going to do it all for you. So it keeps you more focused on your ride, more focused on your race, because that's what you'll see it as on high-end race bikes.
Yeah.
So now it's just hands on the bars the entire time. There's no reach down, flipping switches. And when this came out and I actually saw how it worked, I'm thinking, how can we get even more advanced than this? Where do we go next? But if this is already out, they're working on something. They're already working on something crazy.
They're working on something crazy.
Yeah. How can we outdo ourselves?
Well, I remember that Giant was that was what, 5 years ago? They were in the works and talking about this, and like it was like in the first generation. I imagine it's probably the third or fourth iteration of it now. Yeah. But it sounded far-fetched then. Yeah. It still sounds far-fetched now.
Right. Well, I mean, when they were like, you're going to make bikes out of carbon fiber? Yeah. And I was around the industry when that started, coming down the pipeline. And they're like, you can't, there was steel and then there was aluminum. You can't make a bike out of carbon fiber. And all the companies out there was a little bit of a struggle bus at first. But once they figured out, how to reinforce this stuff and make it super strong. Yeah. All the major companies out there picked up on this.
Yeah, and then wasn't it that they were cross doing the strands or whatever, and that's like the real big development in carbon fiber? Because I remember they did the tubes and they had to do the tubes really thick, and then the next big thing is they figured out if you can weave it. Yeah, and whenever like what they're talking about, like weaving, is they're taking the strands and they're going up and over one another like a garment basically. Yeah. Then you pour the resin in there. Yeah. But yeah, well, they figured that out, and it's like it was leaps and bounds ahead, and they, there was a lot of casualties to that.
Well, one of my buddies that I used to ride with, his name's Brett. I remember when we were working together at a bike shop in Springdale, and he got the new Giant XTC, and it was like their first hardtail carbon. It was a head turner when it first came out. People were like, wow, there's no welds. Look how smooth all the connection points are. Yeah. And I want to say it was on his maiden voyage, the first ride. We see him walking back up the parking lot. He didn't even make it 7 miles on the loop, and he had broken the down tube. It just cracked and shattered. Yeah. Obviously, it's a warranty issue, but that's 20 years ago. Yeah. And now we look at the bikes that are sitting here around us, and some of these carbon Levos, these bikes weigh 50 pounds. Yeah. They're full power e-bikes, and there's riders that are hucking these things off 15, 20 foot jumps.
They say steel is for real, but carbon's coming for steel every day.
Yeah. And steel, it's still, we still have our steel riders that come in that are just those so purist and traditionalist like yourself. They just love steel bikes. Are they heavy? Yeah, they're heavier. Are they durable? No, they're bomb proof, and it's you get that confidence inspiring rigidity, I guess you could say. I mean, it's not hardly any flex, carbon fiber stiff and everything, but I mean, steel, it's such a traditional frame material that there are companies out there that are still to this day, all steel they purist. Do, steel purists.
Yeah. But
I don't think it'll ever go away.
I don't either, but carbon and titanium are out there to take its lunch.
Yeah. I mean, if you're wanting weight and durability at the same time, but also keep in mind that price point follows up. Yeah.
But I did see,
steel too.
Do you know Ashley Hodson?
Don't think so.
Anyway, he rides with us over there in Peerage and Bella Vista and everywhere. He bought a bike, and it's very similar. Like it's, a modern version of what my A-wall would have been if they kept the A-wall. Yeah. But I was looking up the specs on it. The steel tubing on it's really thin. Yeah. they're pushing limits of steel, and they're trying different chromoly blends. So it's like I said, the technology or all the modern bicycle technology that we're going to get is going to be material science.
Yeah.
And then every couple of years they might throw out a new different drivetrain that is slightly better than what that's out there.
Yeah. And I think maybe the next evolution in frame materials might be some like insanely stiff mesh that's almost translucent. It's so thin you can almost see light through it and everything. Who knows? Like nobody knew carbon fiber was coming for alloy.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of alloy bikes out there to be something said for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, hell, that was the majority of what I sold was alloy bikes.
Yeah.
You worked for a trail building company for what, like 4 years?
So I worked for 2 different trail building companies. These trails that we have in Northwest Arkansas, they didn't just grow out of the ground. You've got to take a crew that's out there that can, one thing we used to joke around when we were trail building, we don't build trails. We build rideable drains.
Yeah.
Because water, when you're trail building, it's your worst enemy. Water destroys everything. It's the fastest and hardest and strongest form of Mother Nature can throw out. And it is, you have to make trails sustainable.
Oh, yeah.
And so there's a lot of different techniques when you're using the skid steers, the mini X's, the big machines, as well as your guys on the ground. That are, raking out and perfecting the back slopes and the out slopes.
Yeah.
Big thing is naturalization because, when you're starting out building a trail, you're using your GPS in the area where you are and you're pin flagging it, just like a construction site, because essentially that's what it's going to turn into. And then once it's pin flagged, you'll send in your group doing what we call corridor. And what that is you're following the pin flags because that's where your tread is going to be cut.
Yeah.
And then you decide how wide you want your corridor. And typically, around here, 5-6 foot corridor is pretty healthy depending on what type of trail you're riding.
Well, it beats like the 3 foot ones that they did up in the the Northwest when they first started doing
when they were doing like tree gates when you had to finagle the bars through. Yeah. I mean, there's still some trails out there that are like that, but the handlebars, especially on mountain bikes, they're all the way out to 780 millimeters. And that's just to keep the bike compliant. And you don't want to cut these down because the way the bike is designed for bars that big. So in order to cater to bikes that have a bar span like that, you've got to go wider on your trail.
Well, and we've gone to bigger and bigger tires. Like we're on the plus size tires. Like it's nothing to see a 29 by 2.5 out riding a trail, on a downhill bike.
Yeah, and when I started racing, I was on 26 by 1.95.
Yeah.
That was tech back then. And when the 29er came around, people were just like, whoa, what is this thing?
Yeah. And then you're seeing like these gravel bikes that are running like 2-inch, like mine is running 2.1.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, oh no, that's
It's about right.
It's reasonable for around here because like the roads here are rough, you know? And then I can only imagine, I don't mountain bike, so I don't know super well firsthand. I've done a couple of single track with my gravel bike.
Yeah. And you will see like out there on a lot of these trails, up in Bentonville, rule of 3, it's a good example. You'll see riders on these drop bar bikes barreling down trails that are designed for mountain bikes, fearless, knocking these things out.
Oh yeah. We were a different breed.
Yeah.
Trail building technology is probably keeping pace with the bike build, with what bike manufacturers are doing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. The trail builders, the 2 companies that I'm kind of referencing right now, are so skilled in what they do. It's not uncommon to be riding your bike on terra firma, on solid ground, on the dirt in Bentonville, for one, while having, someone flying over your head coming off a ladder drop that was built up into trees. It's a whole different evolution of the sport.
Oh, yeah.
The suspension is getting better, more supple. The bikes are getting stronger, getting heavier, more durable, and it's a progressive sport. And a term we use in mountain biking is grommets. That's your young up and coming riders. And I have never in my life seen 10-year-olds with guts as big as some of these kids that are
I watched some of the videos of the kids over there at Slaughter Pen.
Yeah.
And
They're
it's
fearless.
like they're pro riders.
Yeah.
You know, they're 10 years old. They're doing stuff pro riders are scared to do.
Yeah.
But they're literally in the best environment for it, and they're able to push the potential of everything.
Yeah.
And
it's like what are your friends doing this weekend? They're going to ride bikes. And kids that at that age, they're so competitive. You're not going to let your best friend out, do you, and make this jump. You can't. You're not going to do that. That doesn't happen. And so and that's what makes this sport great is they're constantly checking each other. And pushing each other, not to the point of insult or anything like that, but just like, building each other up. You can do it, and having been a trail builder, there's stuff that I've built that I'm thinking, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But as soon as that trail opens, you can bet there's going to be a couple of 6th, 7th graders that are going to just sit there and wait for that sign to drop. Trail's open and they're gone. And so it's great to see that next generation coming up. And this is like the first younger generation that we're on right now that's really seeing the evolution of cycling in Northwest Arkansas. And I'm really glad that NICA is doing their bit, that the parents are out there supporting these kids and their passion for riding, and it's only filtering down further into grade school. We're having parents that are coming in that they need to buy a mountain bike for their 6-7-year-old.
Yeah.
Because now they're doing ride programs for kids that age.
Yeah. And then, about 6 or 7, a well-fed 6 or 7-year-old's almost like, 5 foot tall now? I don't know. It seems like I was saying, the humans are progressing and they're getting stronger and they're doing, and it's getting quicker than we realize. But because you look at people from 100 years ago, and the average I want to say was 5'6".
Yeah.
And now we're that it's 5'9", and then you see a whole lot more people who are over 6 foot tall now.
Yeah.
And then people who are built like a brick crap house,
like yourself.
Yeah. What was this? The other guy said, tree trunks for legs.
Tree trunks for legs. Yeah, Alex Tree Trunk Smith. Yeah, I know him. They do. They are tree trunks. But yeah, I mean, these kids, it's great. It's watching them. When I first started, I told my parents what I wanted to do, what I wanted to buy, and they looked at me. They're like, "Why don't you just go to Walmart or Target or something? I can get one of their bikes." And I said, "Well, I want to get a bike from a shop."
Yeah.
That, I know has quality parts. And at the time it was that Raleigh M60 hardtail. I still remember it was bus yellow, school bus yellow. And I beat the crap out of that thing.
Yeah.
And these bikes are made to take some hits, the abuse. And you get warranty with them.
Well, that's like I was saying with my bike. I've had it for almost 10, it'll be 10 years next year. Yeah. I cried one time when I got that because it was at the time it was $1,600, but I've ridden probably almost 16,000 miles with that thing.
See?
I've got about down to 10 cents a mile. Well, I'm not down to 10 cents a mile. I spent a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you buy a decent bike and you buy a bike that, has got quality parts. It's a quality frame, and and you take care of it. It'll take care of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then, the hard part with kids though is they continue to grow, and but that's,
and it's like we say at the shop, when you're coming in, we'll have a lot of parents that'll come in and it's a surprise. It's a birthday present or Santa Claus is bringing it.
Yeah.
And the one statement that almost you get 100% of the time is, well, he or she is 7. What fits a 7-year-old? And then, you kind of have to peel them off the wall a little bit and be like, listen, there's 2 things with buying bikes with kids that you need to be aware of. One, I have seen 3-foot 7-year-olds, and I've seen 4.5-foot 7-year-olds. So they're all different heights. So you can't use age as a factor. And the other thing I always tell parents when purchasing a kid bike is do not buy what fits them now. Buy what fits them a year from now.
Exactly.
It gives them more time on the same bike to learn and get form rather than switching out a new bike every year.
Yeah. So. Well, we bought my niece a secondhand bike off Facebook Marketplace. It was Specialized. Oh. Yeah, I think it was a stump jump. Or what's the hardtail?
Rockhopper?
Rockhopper.
Yeah.
It was a Rockhopper. 29er. It's like a...
We actually sold 4 of those today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very popular bike.
Very popular.
Well built bike too.
Well, and especially if you're getting into the sport,
Yeah,
we can get you in at that $675 price point on something that's coming with warranty. It's got a built frame.
And what's the part levels on it?
We'd be talking, Shimano or SRAM, just entry level components.
Okay.
And
that's not terrible.
No, and there's 5 different bikes in the Rockhopper lineup: the base, the sport, the comp, the elite, and the expert. All the same frame geometries, different colorways per model, but you're just going up in your component spec.
Yeah.
And that is one of our top sellers, hands down, because it is a bike that will not break the bank. To some people, $675 is a lot of money, and it is.
Yeah.
But when you see what you're getting with this, as opposed to paying double for a big box store bike, there's a lot there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we get that bike for my niece, and she's like riding it like she's got 8 fingers because she's so small on it.
Yeah.
She's like 4.5 foot tall now.
Yeah.
She's 10 years old, but in a year, it's in about a year, maybe 2 years, she'll be the right size for that bike.
Yeah.
And, maybe she'll take after her uncle and be, 6'1". But my sister, she's 6'5", or no, 5'6".
Okay.
And then my other sister's like 5'1", 5'2".
Okay.
So, and then, there's a lot of shorter people in my family, but on my mom's side of the family, there's a lot of taller people. So it could go either way.
Could go either way.
Yeah, my one cousin, she's like 5'9", so
Yeah.
But the point is, we bought a bike that's going to be bulletproof and survive the abuse a kid's going to put.
That's what I'm saying. And kids are hard on things.
Kids are so hard on bikes. Man,
I mean, did you guys ever ghost ride bikes when you were young?
Yeah.
Pedal them and then hop off and just see how long you could track it down a road, like unmanned, before it hit a curb and flipped.
Yeah.
We did that a few times.
Well, I did that to cheaper bikes. I didn't do that to my nice bikes.
Oh, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Or do I? No, I don't.
I mean, I ghost ride a bike every once in a while when I got to take 2 somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't let them just go off the rails.
We were 4th grade. We didn't know what we had,
Well, and to be fair, the bikes that we had whenever we were growing up, they were not the greatest.
No.
And they were,
We also didn't have a bike shop to take it to.
Right.
It was like, my bike's broken. Well, you're going to have to figure something out.
Yeah. No, I've had I had to retire several bikes back before there was a legit bike shop.
Yeah.
But even then, the legit bike shops, there was that guy that sold trikes and everything over there on Emma Street in Springdale.
Oh, Sun Cycles? Sun.
I don't remember what it was called.
Sunset Cycles? I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, he didn't have a whole lot. But if it was it was an old school cruiser or a tricycle, he had you covered. But he didn't carry anything for Walmart bikes. So it's
no.
And
and there's a market still for those.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have Amazon and stuff like that back in the day.
It's also true.
Yeah. So it was much different. I remember taking my dad's grinder and making parts for some of my bicycles.
Never got there.
Well, I had this trike from Mexico, and it had this convoluted pin system to keep the cranks in place.
Okay.
And I ended up having to take a dowel pin, shave it down with the grinder, and just keep shaving it down until I got it right, and then it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been tinkering with bikes for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't get super serious into it and actually learn the art form until 2019. But that's the motivation for me to actually start working in a shop.
What's that?
I wanted to learn how to build wheels.
It's a good motivation.
It is a good motive. I mean,
it is an art.
It looks like magic.
You see, because from a hollow hoop to a stack of spokes and a hub, and then you turn it into something that is
that's the art.
Yeah.
No, the magic happens when you start tightening spokes, and then it's all wobbly and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and then
that hub's just kind of floating.
Yeah, and it's this is never going to work.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden it's it's tight, it's straight, and it's and you look down at the watch, it's been 2 hours.
Yeah, well, that's pretty good timing.
Well, I don't know. I'm down to sub-hour time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I kind of took to it like fish to water.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I've built one or two, and this was was way back in the early 2000s at the first bike shop that I worked at. I have not done one since, but I'm sitting here working with some great mechanics, and it's just it's fascinating to be over there, building bikes and doing what I do back in the shop.
Yeah.
When I'm not on the sales floor and just watching them just put a head down, listen to the music, whistling and stuff. And it's just, there's so many motions that you have to go through to do this. And we've got a couple of guys that actually make it look easy.
I know, like they're sitting there and they're just like,
yeah.
And, and it's like not even looking at a caliper.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be sitting over there talking to them, and they're looking over here, and they're still tinkering and front, and it's just like, no, never mind. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, it's like eventually you get to the point where you build enough wheels, like you don't even need a spoke tensioner or spoke tension meter. You just go. Kink, 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 kink.
We have one of those guys. We have one of those guys.
Yeah. Oh man, it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's art.
It's rewarding.
It's very rewarding. It's like, I pulled through like 3 spokes. I don't remember. No, y'all didn't sell me the hub on that one.
Oh, that's not your hub.
No, you sold me. No, you didn't sell me the rim on that one either. I think it was some other place. But that was 2023. Yeah, I've probably spent more on bikes than what I've spent here.
Well, I mean, we're not the only shop you shop at.
Yeah,
good stuff. I mean, you kind of go.
This is my favorite shop, though.
We appreciate it. We like it a lot, or we wouldn't be here.
Right. I was 5 days out from going to Ragbri.
Yeah,
and I was sweating bullets because I could not get a wheel.
Yeah,
I came over here first, and it's like I don't remember if it was like a warranty issue or whatever, but it's like they didn't have that specific rim anymore, and I was like,
yeah.
So. That's the only thing.
Once again, ties back into the progression of the sport.
They retire parts. So like if you're gonna get a bike, get something that's got, or if you're gonna get something, you're gonna hold on to it. Get something that has tried and true technology, or is not predicted to go out of style for a while.
Yeah.
If you want something that's, if you got to cry once, that's about the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about through axle. I hate through axle, but it's here to stay, and it's getting better.
Yeah, yeah. And it's all my bikes have through axles.
Yeah,
and, who would have thought? Years back, riders were
Quick
taking
release was like huge.
Yeah, quick release came along and replaced your 15 millimeter bolts on the side, and people are like, "Well, what is this?" And
right.
Oh wow, I can take my wheel off with no tools. That was revolutionary.
Yeah.
At the time.
Absolutely.
But, but now we've got the through axles, which are, they're, some are even getting lighter than those. You're seeing them on, carbon, Tour de France level race bikes. So you got the durability, you've got the weight reduction, and you've got the ease of use. You can, everything's aligned, as long as that caliper is in place and you don't bump it, you put your wheel up, you slide the bolt through, you tighten it, it works. Quick release, it helps to have the bike on the ground. With the fork pressing on both to balance that wheel out. And so, this is just another one of those component progressions. And what are they going to think of next?
Yeah, no, I'm sweating bullets. And it's like, I'm 5 days out.
Yeah.
And I am like, I cannot afford a whole new wheel.
Yeah.
So I reused my spokes and my spoke nipples. Went down, I found a rim that was just like within spec. Made it work and got it spooled up that same day. Yeah. It took me like an hour and a half, I think. And because I messed up one of the lacings and went I got out of the pattern. So I had to tear it all back apart, start over. Yep. And then it was just flopping around and went a couple of times around on the frame, and then next thing you know, I have a functioning wheel. Took it over to a friend's house and looked at it with a spoke tensioner and made a few minor adjustments, and I was in business. Yeah. And
that was how many miles on that wheel?
Let's not talk about that.
I thought you were going to tell me you rode across Iowa on that wheel.
No. Well, the front wheel's still original.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that's not original on that bike is the pads, the rotors, the rear wheel rim, the rim on the rear wheel, the tires, and one of the cables.
and the dry boxes and the ham radio.
Well, that's all accessories, but yeah, no, that bike, if you're going to like I said, if you're going to get something and you want it to last, a good touring bike, anything that's like built for touring, a lot of good gravel bikes, front to back cable housing, I cannot speak highly enough about that. But also, bringing your bike into the shop regularly and having them take care of it for you.
Maintenance is everything.
Will go a long way to the longevity of your bike, and it is cheaper compared to having to buy a new bike every couple of years.
Yeah, but, and bikes are one of those things that if you have a problem, address the problem.
Yeah.
Because it's trickle down. If your chain stretches out and you don't replace the chain, now it starts wearing on the teeth of the cassette. So are we talking, initially we were talking a $40 repair. Now we're talking a repair that's into the hundreds.
Yeah.
Plus your labor. And so, addressing these problems as they arise, get to your shop. Let's talk about e-bikes for a second.
Okay.
When e-bikes first hit the scene, there was just a small handful of companies that were out there doing this.
And now, did you guys have e-bikes whenever you were selling bikes back in the 20 or 2000?
No.
Okay.
No,
I've seen some old remnant e-bikes from that era, and I've worked on a few of them.
Yeah.
And you look at those, and it's literally like a motor controller and a battery.
Yeah. It looks like a fire waiting to happen.
They are.
Yeah. Lithium ion.
Yeah. Well, no, not even lithium.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a NiCad battery.
Yeah.
So they had abysmal range.
Yeah.
But, here they are 20 years later and they still work. But
yeah, and they're making up, I don't know the exact percentage, but I will say probably it's a vast majority of our business.
I'd be willing to say it's about every other person coming through that door is looking at an e-bike.
I mean, they come through and it's just like, we want to look at your e-bikes. Well, we've got road gravel. We've got, your hybrid fitness. We've got full mountain, hardtail mountain. Pick your route and let's go in that direction. And there's a little something for everybody with Specialized in the E category.
Absolutely.
It's not cheating. What I really see a lot of personal fulfillment in is it's getting people back on bikes.
Oh yeah.
You've got people that, they've had injuries, they've had hip replacements, knee replacements, replacement ankles, broken backs 20 years ago, and they used to ride every day, and then it's curbed them.
Yeah.
And they had to give up, their favorite hobby, their passion, but then they found that they can come in here and get on one of these where the bike is actually assisting, so you don't have that pressure to those joints and parts. And it's opened up a different category.
And that reminded me of the point I was going to make a while ago is if you treat your bike like a legitimate form of transportation, it opens up so many avenues.
Yeah.
And then coming back to e-bikes, that's the hard pill to swallow is that, some of the nicer ones, like some of the stuff you and me would be like, okay, that is like something I could foresee myself having for the next foreseeable future.
Sure.
$5,000-$6,000 that's a pretty good baseline for me and you thinking. And then people who are listening at home or who are not versed in like cycling, they see $5,000-$6,000 and think, my God, these guys are crazy.
That's a used car.
That's a used car. That's the point though.
It's
a legitimate form of transportation.
Mm-hmm. One of our best sellers right now, hands down, is it's called the Globe Haul ST. We've got them over here on the floor. We've got them at boxes. We can get them all day long from the warehouse. And
is that the one with the panniers on the side?
That is
the rubber ones.
Yeah,
those are sick. I love those.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
and it's
like this little guy right here, isn't it?
No, it's they're up here on the stage.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah,
okay. And it's behind all the Kuat stuff.
They're built like tanks.
Yeah,
and this is the one bike. I was just talking with Jay, our manager, the other day. Jay's friggin' awesome. I've known him since the first shop I worked at the early 2000s, and we're still great friends to this day. And we were talking about this Globe, and we're like, we don't even have to try and sell this thing.
No,
the internet is pushing it as the number one, e-bike in its category that's out there. Editors pick, best all that the Globe Haul has taken it. And what we've noticed is if you sell, a pair of those
Yeah.
to a his and her, to a couple or whatever, and their friends ride those,
Yeah.
you give it a couple of days and their friends are walking through the door and they're like, hey, our friends just got this one bike from you. They
Yeah.
can't remember the name, but if you point to it, that's it. And we want a couple of those. And now if you look around Northwest Arkansas, especially on the Greenway, they're all over the place.
I went up to Rogers the other day and then went by one of those golf course neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And there was no less than 30 kids out there, messing around out there on an e-bike.
Yeah.
And and they all had e-bikes and they all had, like stuff similar to the Globe.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a legitimate form of transportation. You got your panniers, you can carry your gear.
Yeah.
It doesn't take up a whole lot of room.
No.
You can park 10 bikes in the same space as a small compact car.
Yeah, you can.
So it's like you cannot you think it'd take up a whole lot of room in your garage. It's not.
It doesn't.
No, I've got 8.5.
In fact, a lot of companies around here, they're actually purchasing fleets of e-bikes
Right.
for their associates that work there. You can either use them for recreational use, or I know of a couple of companies in particular up at Bentonville. They're actually, giving almost like pay bonuses for not driving your car. And we're going to pay you or give you this reduction or whatever for riding your bicycle. And not just that, they're actually like making garages.
Oh yeah.
For protection on these, so they're not parked outside. You go in and check your bike like a coat
It's a valet.
It's a valet. It's awesome.
I saw some of those in the underground parking in Toronto when I was up there last year. That was cool. Because like you walk in and you see, and it looks just like a bike shop because there's so many bikes in there. Yeah. And it's like they're all just hung up nice, neat row. There's a little guy that comes around every so often and checks everything. Yeah. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, this is really cool. And Europe figured this out years ago.
Well, have you seen Japan's solution with the automated ones?
Are these the ones that
they're at the corner of the street?
Yeah.
You put in how much time you're going to spend there.
Okay.
And you get a valet ticket. You put it in the rack and it goes down and then it comes and slides up. It's all underground, and it puts it in a slot.
Okay.
And you can't get in there to steal anything, but dude, it's wild.
It's probably coming to stateside.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah.
E-bikes have started launching, and that's the start of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll get to that point because Northwest Arkansas is growing so quick.
Yeah.
Like
one of the fastest growing parts of the nation.
Yeah, and it's even through a lot of like the downtimes and everything, it's still been growing.
Yeah.
So, eventually, eventually it'll get to the point where it's like there's, just more trails than there are roads.
Yeah.
'Cause I could see that. Yeah, we're heading that direction. I'm going to make that prediction. I might be an old man by the time I see that, but it's coming. It's coming.
It's coming. Just don't have a timeline on it, but it's coming.
Well, and then, like I said, people are making that transition to a bike-centric lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's not, and this is one of the questions I wanted to ask, but it's like, I think we were well on the topic even before I ever even thought of the question. But it's like, no, you and I both treat cycling like a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is. It's a lifestyle. It's a culture.
It's a rich culture with lots of different elements to it, but some people, what's the joke? It's like N+1 is the optimal number of bikes to have.
Oh,
but
yeah. I mean,
anymore, you have a get around bike.
Yeah.
And you have your mountain bike.
Yeah.
And then you might have like a nice high end bike if you want to go race with the boys on the weekend. Yeah. And that's really all you need.
Yeah. I mean, I sold my road bike to get my gravel bike, and now I use it dual purpose for both road and gravel, and I just switch out the tires.
Yeah.
I just like the bike.
Yeah, no, that was about the big push 10 years ago. Gravel came onto the scene, like a gravel specific bike.
Like a thunderstorm.
It was amazing. And then, and that's, you have legendary bikes like the Macaresh, the A-Wall from Specialized. That one, that's my personal favorite.
Yeah.
You had the Sequoia, and you had all these great gravel bikes. And people realize that, hey, this is like a dual purpose touring and
Yeah.
gravel bike.
It's like a Swiss
But
Army knife.
It is literally a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
And they figured out, I can put panniers on it. I can take my stuff with me.
Uh-huh.
And, even in the sun. And, kudos to those businesses that have showers on site, because that's like the first big step. You can ride your bike and you can hop in, take a shower real quick, and you're fresh for work. And, your people are living longer. They're getting their exercise in. Because, I used to cycle into work every day.
Yeah.
Every day, and I was in the best shape I've ever been in my life doing that.
And I think e-bikes they came in at the ultimate time when we saw a huge surge in gas prices.
Yeah.
And and then you started hearing about these e-bike things, and then people were like, "Oh no, you can't ride those. That's cheating." But maybe when it started out and opened up in the mountain bike category, I can see that. But
or the gravel bike, like the racing stuff. But
you're not going to tell someone they're cheating if they're going to work and riding a bike.
No. And,
because they're not stuck in traffic. They're probably going to get there faster than you.
And, I saw e-bike adoption as early as 2017. I went to New York City, and everywhere you looked, they're everywhere. There was couriers on e-bikes, and I was like,
they've got kiosks of all these bikes. Like you were saying in Japan, you put your coin in and check the bike out. I actually rode some of those city bikes. They're not that bad. We rode all over New York City. I think it's like $25. Yeah.
And you have like a 30-minute window, or maybe it's 15 minutes. I don't remember. It's been almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But you have a window to ride down. Shout out to Naga. You ride around, and you go, and literally you drop them off on the curb, hook it up. It scans the RFID tag on it, and then away you go. And then it prints you out a receipt, and then you go to the next kiosk whenever you got to go later on that day. You scan that receipt, and it might be an app now. It's been almost 10 years. It's probably an app now.
Yeah, it's probably an app.
Anyway, you scan that receipt, and you tell us, like, hey, I want to pick up bike in stall 20.
Yeah.
And you go and pick up, it unlocks it for you, and you go and pick that up, and away you go.
Yeah.
But getting around in New York City,
I've been a couple times
on a bicycle. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It looks sketchy, but the cars and everybody there are so used to the cyclist
going with the flow.
Yeah. They don't even bother to look. They're just like, the cyclists know the rules. They know to stop at all the stoplights, and that the cyclists are all going to
rules. There's bikes.
Yeah, no, everybody's in conjunction there, and it was amazing to see, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting to see what it's like now.
Yeah, there was a company, and I cannot remember the name of it, that did beta testing in big cities, and I want to say New York City was one of them.
Yeah,
I know they were all stateside, and I could stand corrected on this, but I want to say it was a Shark Tank episode.
Okay.
And this guy had come on there, and it was with bicycles, both e and acoustic, and was making these rental kiosks that he was literally taking out and dropping in these cities on the corner with 8 to 10 bikes on it and everything, and just saying, free. This is a bike that you can just come and get for free, and wherever it stops, they have GPS trackers on this. So when it runs out of battery, they know where the bike is.
Yeah.
And then they'll go and get it. And then they'll bring it back and put it back on the charge kiosk for the next person to come around.
Yeah.
And then I think that was kind of one of the big starts of it. And being able to provide these for free.
Well, the metrics and data of the usage and where people would go was probably invaluable.
Yeah.
You imagine what that data would have sold for back on the on the open market back then.
Oh gosh.
That's probably what kicked a lot of this off. I was looking at a deal today, and it was it showed the score for Manhattan and Long Island. I think Manhattan was a 53.
Oh wow.
And Long Island was 73 out of 100.
Yeah.
And I talk highly about those two areas because I rode up on down Long Island in Manhattan while I was there.
That's awesome.
And you think those aren't terribly great scores, but it's higher. And then you come to a place here, and this was it Gold Star or Gold? Because you see the signs whenever you go into it, and this Fayetteville's a gold ranked city for
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Bicycle Magazine or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's there's better places, and it's it's hard to fathom how much better those are
Sure.
those places can be.
Yeah. And I think what, the biggest thing that we're going to see next in e-bikes, especially on your race models, like, I say race model, not your activity or your hybrid category, in our specialized lineup, like your Levos, your Creos. I think what it's going to get to, because when these things started dropping, people, you could instantly look over and you could tell it was an e-bike.
Yeah.
You got this giant motor, you got this big old fat down tube, and you stood out like a sore thumb. What I'm noticing in a lot of these is they're slimming things down. They're finding a way to put more higher power batteries in smaller down tubes. And I think that's going to be the direction it goes, is ultimately, these bikes are going to get to be hard to identify. Right. Especially these mid motors. Like, is that an e-bike?
Well, 5 years ago, I saw some Adventons that were like just like a cruising bicycle. They're meant to go like 20 miles, but they had a little down tube that was like 3 inches around and it looked just like a regular mountain bike. It was on a hybrid cruiser style, but they're just like, oh, okay, we're just tooling along here. Nothing to see here. Just out riding my bike. And I think that's the step it's going to head in. Absolutely.
And if you look at some of these, I don't know, I'm trying to remember some off the top of my head, but they don't sell on the American market. They're Euro only. I want to say there was one of them called like Sparrow.
There's so many.
I know there's
so many.
You turn around and there's another one. And they've got these giant buckets on the front of them, with a front drive wheel,
like
and like an axle that goes to the front, and the rider is actually sitting like 6 feet behind the front wheel with a giant bathtub in front, either full of groceries,
cargo bikes,
big cargo bikes.
What was that brand? I worked on a few of them. I have complaints with that, and I think they're starting to, mainly the putting that much weight with a hydraulic brake system that's not a car brake,
or a motorcycle brake,
or you, whenever you start getting up to that size, you need to start thinking about some serious braking.
There's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight.
Well, I mean, it's like I said earlier, with gas prices, that really drove the e-bike market, because I don't want to drive. I don't want to get stuck in traffic. You have put this thoroughfare through 2 counties. So if I work in the next town over, I don't have to jump out here on the asphalt and try to weave and negotiate traffic. I can hop on the greenway, surpass all of these stoplights and stop signs, and get to work, 15 minutes faster. And I didn't spend anything on fuel.
I think it was like 3 years ago, I rode my bike to work every day. And that whole summer, I think I spent $40 on gas.
See?
Yeah.
And you're not the only one.
No,
there's thousands.
There's several thousands of people that do that. You might see 1 or 2 people in your daily commute, but you got to think, oh, that can't be the only one. There's probably several who live down the road. I see guys at like 6 o'clock in the morning going to work on a bicycle that live down my road. And you would never think, oh, that guy rides a bicycle.
Right.
But and to your point, whenever I was going to college, I lived like 4 miles from the college, right? I had to drive 6 miles to go to the parking lot, catch the bus, ride the bus up the hill.
What a hassle.
It would take me half hour, 45 minutes sometimes, depending on if I caught the bus or if I got stuck on traffic over there on Martin Luther King. Riding a bicycle, I could leave my house, the front door of my house, lock the door, ride my bike, be sitting in my seat in 15 minutes.
See?
And it was 4 miles.
No parking lots.
Oh, no parking lots. I could drive. I could ride as fast as I wanted because it was all road the whole way there. The only bad thing was going up that hill over there on what is that street? Coming down from the college there, the big one, not the one on the south side, the north side, Garland.
Oh yeah. Oh, the Garland hill.
Riding up Garland was not fun, but it made me a very strong rider.
you know how you always joked around about, let's do a spreadsheet for that? Because I know you like that Excel stuff. There's an e-bike for that, for that hill. I'm just saying. I know you're not there yet, but there's an e-bike.
I don't ride up that hill anymore.
You are a Globe Haul ST candidate.
Yeah, well, I saw that thing come out like 2 years ago, and I was eyeing it hard. And I was like, that's the one.
It's something
That's so on brand for me. It's not even funny.
Well, the thing is about this bike that a lot of other, brands out there aren't doing, this comes in one size. It is a universal fit. This thing will fit a rider like 4'9" up to 6'6", fully adjustable.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's all the same price.
Yeah.
You get two colorways, White Mountain or the Onyx Matte Black.
Yeah.
Both universal fit. So, we had some riders that came in one time, and the husband, he got on it and he was like, yeah, this is a good fit. And she asked him, she's like, well, do you have one of these that'll fit me? And I said, yeah, it's this one. And she goes, no, that's still too big. So I went and grabbed a couple of wrenches, lowered everything down.
Yeah.
And she said what you said. She's like, oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I said, it's the same bike.
Yeah.
Fully adjustable.
And that, you don't see that very often.
You don't.
No, it's like, you might see that on a folding bike.
Yeah.
But
you might.
That's still hard to find.
Yeah. And we have bikes on the floor, like the Vado SL, the full power Vados. Those still come in, your small, medium, large, extra large sizes. But then you've got the Hall, which comes in literally in our lineup, the least expensive e-bike, but it's the most universal. It's the fastest seller. Is it the heaviest? Yeah, it's pretty heavy. It's 75 pounds. But on a bike that is a class 3 that has an optional throttle, once you get this thing up into the ride assist modes, you don't notice the weight.
It's probably tunable.
It's tunable.
Yeah.
It's smooth sailing. It's just incredible the versatility that this has. And then when you look at the price point, the versatility, the utility part of it, and there's a little something that everybody can use on this bike, and it makes it our number one seller.
Oh, wow.
That rack is it's made by Kuat. That's what we carry here at the shop exclusively. It's Kuat. It's called the Piston Pro X. So it's as you can see by like the arms that come on it, it's touchless on the frame, which a lot of people like, especially when you're investing that much in a bicycle. They don't want the hooks touching anything. They just want it kind of cradled in, and that rack does a very good job of it. But what we're seeing a lot of with the introduction of these e-bikes and more people getting on them, they're not just riding them from their house to work and back to their house. They're riding these recreationally, and they want to be able to start in different locations. And those locations require transportation of the bicycle to be able to ride that. Kuat has currently one rack that I would advocate on the market. It's our best seller. It's the NV 2.0 base. Hooks on the front wheel, leash on the back, and it's rated at 60 pounds per bike per tray. So currently, we keep those in stock all the time. It's our number one seller. It's a hitch rack. But coming down the pipeline, Kuat, I guess, was listening and paying close attention to the masses. We've got one coming down the pipeline called the Ion, and it is designed exclusively for e-bikes. And on this, as far as the rigidity, you're going to be pushing 100 pounds per bike per tray, which is going to open up transportation of these e-bikes in a whole different way. I'm definitely going to make sure that it ends up out on our Instagram page or social media, and we get this thing out there, because this thing will drive. It's driven by demand.
So the one that's over there right now, I remember when that one came out.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like a 6-month waiting list just to get it, because it was...
It's the new hotness.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't that. It wasn't just that. It was that you could carry both your e-bikes, his and her e-bikes, and you could go places with them. Yeah. And you didn't have to have a truck.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a trailer or a motorcycle carrier.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything about pre-orders or anything like that, but after talking to one of the guys that works there, he said, man, this thing is going to revolutionize bike transportation.
And it might be, what, $2,000-3,000 for that? But, because I remember that one was expensive. It was like $1,500-1,700.
Yeah, it's going to come in around that realm.
Yeah.
Which for a hitch rack, that's a lot. But it's an e-bike.
Yeah.
So it's got to be burly.
It's got to be burly. It's got to be able to handle the task. And that's been the one limiting factor with e-bikes. It's all well and good if you live close to where you're, like if you live within 10 miles of your work, realistically, you should be on an e-bike.
Yeah. Because it makes sense.
It makes sense
for that demographic,
right? And if you're not having to like run in and out of work or go pick up other people, there's options for that. But
and the e-bikes are getting heavier.
Yeah,
they're getting more versatile and they're getting heavier, like the Globe. I mean, it's when you look at the tubing on this thing and the size of the welds. I mean, this thing is built like a tank.
Yeah,
but there's no rack out there to carry this. So if you have 2 of them within the household, this Ion is going to open that door, because now you're not going to be limited to just tootling around the neighborhood. Now we can take them to the next state on the back of our truck and unload these and ride, like, for instance, the Katy Trail. Yeah, it's going to open a lot of new avenues. And Kuat, they're super excited about it. I can't wait to get my hands on one and get it set up.
Is it going to be a assisted drop down as well?
You know, Saris, I don't know that yet. I know Saris, they have a rack that they've had on the market now called the Door County. Yeah. That does have the hydraulic lift system. Yeah. I've gotten to play with a couple of those. Yeah. It's cool. It really is. Yeah. They're going to have to, because the information that is out there, it's top secret at this point. They're giving you the cliff notes of what it is, but I think
I've heard whispers and rumors.
Yeah. I think this thing is going to be so much more than they're making it out to be. Yeah. Because they're trying to hold back just a little bit to make, when it hits the market, to be like the new hot thing.
They're trying to over deliver.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, they're going to do it first, and then there's going to be your other rack manufacturers, your Yakima, your Thule, they're going to be following suit. Oh, yeah. Because they're always trying to play catch up with that new tech. Yeah. So yeah, considering that it's rated for 100 pounds of bike per tray, there has to be some sort of mechanism. And if we add in a hydraulic system, obviously it's not going to be cheap, but the function is there.
Yeah. Cause like the 1-Up rack, it had, I remember when 1-Up, we started selling 1-Ups, and they had that little ramp deal, but it's like, it was just a little piece of aluminum. It was like, if you bend that aluminum, you're screwed. Yeah. Or you lose it. Yeah. Or somebody steals it. Yeah.
Well, in the Yakima, the MV Base 2.0 over here, it has an aftermarket rack that you can purchase. Yeah. But when this rack hit the market, it wasn't made for e-bikes. I think it was just made for people that had these, bigger trail bikes or gravity bikes or downhill bikes. So you can roll it up just like a dirt bike.
40 pounds a pop.
Something like that.
Yeah, because a good downhill bike was like 35 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they were covering their bases. Yeah. And they weren't on the e-bike trend yet. Right. Which not a whole lot of people were. Right. So, and still, it's like they're playing catch up, and it's been almost 5 years since. Yeah. But
there's going to be more tech. I mean, it's not going to surprise me if one day, we've got some of these that have a hydraulic assist with a remote control.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where you can just reach in your console and pull out your remote control, load your bikes, and press a button, and it locks it into place.
You got to look at your demographic too, because it's like, a lot of senior people, they're not as strong as they used to be. Right. And they're wanting to get out, and they want to go, and they want to explore. And having a hydraulically assisted rack like that, it's a game changer. Yeah. It's absolute 100% game changer. And I don't use that term lightly, but it's absolutely what it is. It opens up. It's just like how e-bikes opened up the doors for them again. Yeah. This will open up it's their world is their oyster.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you'll be able to take it anywhere. And with zero effort of lifting and loading and unloading, the rack just does it all. Yeah. I mean, and, back in the day, I worked for a different company than where I'm at now, and our headline brand was Yakima, and anybody with racks is synonymous. They know Yakima, and I remember having our kiosk and everything that was on there. Hitch racks did not exist with these trays. They had these fold out arms, because at the time, most bikes had that traditional dual triangle shape to the frames. Yeah. So it had a flat bar. So you just pick it up and you hang it on a flat bar. Yeah. Now the frames have progressed to these different geometries. These hitch racks. Girl bikes. Yeah. This is the only thing that makes sense anymore. Yeah. No. And it's like, where was this? We didn't have this 15 years ago. No. Where are we going to be 15 years from now? That's why it's going to be remote controlled.
Bicycles are going to be unrecognizable.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like, they've got computer generated AI modeling. Yeah.
It's all internal parts. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, it's just going to be this nice little sleek piece of metal, and you're going to be like, is that a bike?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like we've been talking about, going back and forth about where was technology then and where is technology now. I would not be surprised one day.
How long has Specialized been in the game?
Like 1974.
Yeah, they've been around a while.
Yeah, it started with Mike Sinyard. Interesting story. He was from mid-northern California Bay Area. Yeah. And He had a Volkswagen minibus van.
Of course
that he drove around. Of course he did. He drove it around all the place. Now he decided there is nobody in here or in the States really, and especially in that area, that had bike parts. And so Mike had the idea of going to Europe and loading up. I want to say he bought like a couple grand worth of European bike parts, and brought that back and was selling them into the local bike shops. And so it started out. We're still SBC, Specialized Bicycle Components.
Yeah.
Then Mike had the idea coming down the pipeline. He's like, why should we stop at components? Let's make a bike.
Right.
And then it just started rolling. Oh gosh, he'd try to kill me right now, but I want to say the first model was the Sequoia. I could totally stand corrected on that. I should know that off the top of my head. But it was a Steely.
Yeah. One of the greats.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
And yeah. And then, getting into the mountain line, the stump jumper. Now we're on the 15th model of the stump jumper. So we're on Stumpy 15.
Yeah. And then how long has the rock hopper been around? Because like the early late 80s?
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Early 90s was the rock hopper and the hot rock.
Yeah. Well, I've seen rock hoppers I've seen people who have rock hoppers that are like, 1993. There's rock hoppers as old as I am.
It's steel rigid.
Right.
There's nothing crazy fancy about it. But
wild color schemes.
That was the thing in the 80s and 90s. Like how electric teal and Kawasaki green can we go? There was that phase. And, of course, you look around this shop and,
the colors are making a comeback.
Yeah.
The two-tone needs to make a comeback now.
Yeah.
I kind of see the trends going everywhere. Like the 80s color schemes are starting to make a comeback, and it'll translate the bicycles before too long.
Yeah, the Epic 8 Pro when it dropped. If anybody follows, Christopher Blevins like I do, I'm a fanboy. He's a Specialized Factory racer. Yeah. He's friggin' amazing. And I met him. He actually came into the shop one day.
Yeah,
he was in town for Pro Cup, and I kept looking at him and I was like, I know this guy from somewhere.
Yeah.
And then when he came up and started talking and I got a good look at him, I was like, man, oh dude, you're Christopher Blevins. He's like, yeah. It just as humble as he could be.
Yeah.
And then, following him into the next series of races, we were talking about those colors making a comeback. The bike is teal.
Yeah.
The fork bottoms are hot pink and it has neon yellow lettering with purple stickers on carbon wheels. You'll see it coming from a mile away. It's freaking awesome. But people look at it and they're like, I'm not good enough to ride that bike.
Yeah.
But
well, Blake Kingfisher?
Yeah.
Yeah. He rides a hot pink Specialized.
Yeah.
That thing's wild. I see. You can always spot Blake. Oh, Blake? I've known Blake since high school. I met him, I guess I was probably in the 10th grade.
Yeah.
And, he was a year older than me, but
yeah.
He's a cool dude.
He's a big dude, and he's super plugged into the community.
Yeah,
and people, especially on the gravel scene, they know his name.
Oh yeah,
and once you see him once, you can pick him out in a crowd.
Yeah,
he looks like a Viking.
Yeah, he's the only other brown guy with long hair.
It's like your brother from another mother,
right? This wouldn't be the Local Legend Cycling Podcast if we didn't ask: are you a local legend on any segments in Strava?
No, and here's why. Not that I know of.
You can check.
I guess I could look at it. Yeah, I know I've received some medals for some segments and everything, but I don't have any KOMs or anything like that.
Well,
I typically I don't ride with my Strava on.
Do you cross post with ride with GPS or anything like that?
No, really. Most of the time when I get that itch to ride my bike, I throw on my kit. I grab all my necessities for the ride, and I do what I call directional riding. I just follow where the front tire is. Yeah. Wherever that takes me. I'll go point A to point B to C. I'm old school, man. I'm like, we're going to go ride this loop. No, if you do look at the last segment that I posted on Strava, you would think it was like a crazy spider trying to build a web, between two counties. It was just all over the place. It was the random ride. There was no consistency whatsoever. I do most of the people that I do ride with, they're really into and in depth with Strava. Yeah. They want to know how much power they're putting down. They want to know everything about all these segments, how much climbing they want to know the math behind it. And I've always been the the Quaker. Just, I'm just here to ride.
The little German place, like, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. I never wanted to.
Simple.
I wasn't trying to, use a computer, because when I started riding, we didn't have that. No, I don't have any. Or if I do, I totally may, but I never
double check. I bet you do.
So
That one saved.
See, that's Gregory Park. That's back when I was trail building.
Yeah.
Like I didn't, like I said, I really don't use it the way a lot of riders do. I just point and ride.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if you're ever out there and everything, and you do find something that I'm missing, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a local legend. That I'm a local legend, old school.
Yeah. Thank you again. This has been the Local Legend Cycling Podcast. Our guest here has been Jonathan, repping Specialized. And check us out. We're on all the platforms. Thanks to Caleb. Caleb has been very busy. We have got a website. The only thing I think we don't have is a Facebook and Instagram page. We might be on X. I wouldn't hold you to it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Cool.
Take care. Thanks.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in.